Hey everybody, David the AI Guide here. Welcome to another episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter also. Check us out on Patreon. If you can support us, even at a very small amount, like $1 a month, if we get enough subscribers that way, then we can bring new content and do a lot of cool stuff that we want to do, but can only do with your support. So thanks so much for considering it. And let's get going on today's topic. So today's topic is about GPT-3, and it comes out of Vegas, where recently at two security conferences for the internet, a research paper was published by this agency of the government of Singapore. And what they did was they used GPT-3 to create phishing emails. Now, this was just a test, and if people clicked on the link, all it did was register that they had clicked on the link. So it was nothing bad, like real phishing emails. But what they did was they sent out a bunch of human-generated ones, and then they sent out a bunch of AI-generated ones. The AI-generated ones, besides GPT-3, also used other AI-enabled technologies like personality analysis. So speaking of that, for all you folks who are heavy social media users, you have been analyzed for personality type so that these huge companies can serve you exactly the kind of ads that you're going to click on. Just letting you know that. In addition, for those of you who are getting your news on these social media platforms, much of that news now is faked by AI, and this article also talks about that, but it's not the focus of this video. The focus of this video is this agency of the government of Singapore is saying that because people clicked so much more on the AI-generated ones than the human-generated ones, that this opens the door to the scammers at what will be dirt cheap cost. So there's another thing going on, and it shouldn't surprise you because it's exactly what has happened with other technologies. So back in the day, the only people who had computers were at universities or research labs like IBM Watson, and they had huge mainframes. That then shifted down to mini computers, which then shifted down to microcomputers, also known as PCs, and further then shifted once the internet became commercially available through the World Wide Web. You then got server farms and now cloud computing. What this change enabled was software as a service, which is all the platforms you use that are only software, but they help you do something, like online banking is a software as a service, Amazon is a software as a service, and it's infinite now. Well, AI is now morphing into AI as a service. So all you have to do is understand how to connect to the API of these providers. And an API is the data portal, public data portal. And you too can hook into an AI platform and generate phishing emails. Now, to train a model to actually work, as this article says, and the people at the government of Singapore says, currently costs millions of dollars, but with the rollout of AI as a service, it's going to get dirt cheap. And not all of the companies providing this service really check out who's using their software and for what purpose. Now, they specifically talk about GPT-3 and OpenAI being very strict about who can connect to their API, but there's a lot of companies that are starting up now that are not strict. So what they're saying is this is going to unleash a tidal wave of very convincing phishing emails that will get by the spam filter because they're so sophisticated, because they address the person individually, they use personality analysis to make it highly relevant to you. The AI can even put in content that's very convincing, like government official looking and stuff like that. That's what happened in Singapore. AI is like everything else, and we've talked about this from the beginning. It can be used for good or for bad. And as AI as a service rolls out, it is going to enable the bad actors. So this is something to think of, something to keep in mind, and we want to make sure that we're careful about the emails that we're opening going forward. I got one the other day that looked like it was from a bank, and it was extremely convincing. The only way I knew it was BS was that the email address it came from was the wrong email address. So that's how I was able to determine that it was a scam and not to touch that email. And this was at work. But this is going to be a huge problem, not only for companies, but for individuals. Talk about struggling to keep your personal data private. This can open the floodgates to people taking over your computer, which most people save passwords on their computer. I do not, for the reason that I'm about to say. But if you store passwords on your computer, once someone is in your computer, they can access every account you have, all your bank accounts, your purchasing accounts like Amazon and others, your social media accounts, and then they can spoof your social media account and start sending out fake stuff from your account. This has happened quite a lot recently with LinkedIn. There's been a wave of hacking and fake job recruiting emails going out to people from LinkedIn that look legitimate messaging on the platform and aren't. So, for those kind of things, what you have to do is start to message the person back and say, did you send this? I've done that with 5 people recently who said, no, my account was hacked. All this stuff is becoming a real security challenge. Perhaps AI on the security side will be able to keep up with AI on the bad actor side, but it's not guaranteed. So watch out for phishing emails. By the way, we always talk about career options at the end of our videos, which at least we try to. Security for internet or computing platforms is a great field to get into. It's in very, very high demand, very highly paid, and the demand is only going to grow, and it'll never go away. So it's an AI safe career. So thanks. As we talked about at the beginning, please support us on Patreon. The AI Guide on Patreon is all you have to look up. Also, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Click the link below to get your free beginner's AI resource. And we'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.